Not sure if you heard about the big changes that have taken effect this February 2024, starting on the 1st. Google and Yahoo, the largest email providers, have made some changes in the rules on how they're going to deliver your emails. Now, this does particularly pertain to people who are sending out any kind of bulk email. That could be 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 and above. How this could affect your deliverability, whether you end up in the spam folder, promotions, or maybe not even delivered at all. So these are some things you're going to want to know, especially before you send out that next email. Now, that might be if you're using MailChimp or Constant Contact or something like that, or maybe use LinkU, our platform, or some other CRM to send out your bulk emails. All of this is going to be relevant to you. And I'm going to go over basically this new email sender guidelines directly on Google's website. So let's go ahead and jump in. And before we do that, I just have to tell you, I already recorded the intro 3 times of this video. And so if I mess up or whatever, it is what it is. My whole thing is trying to teach my students and our clients how to create video and not to overthink it and to get the value out there. And with more practice, well, you'll get better, right? So anyway, just a little disclaimer. All right, so jumping into the email sender guidelines, as you can see, this says starting 2024. I'm just going to jump right ahead here. You can see there's 2 different sections for guidelines. There's requirements for all senders and requirements for people sending 5,000 or more messages a day. So again, if maybe you have a newsletter or something you're going to be sending out in bulk, 5,000, if there's more than 5,000 people on the list, this is going to apply to you, and this applies to everyone. So I'm going to start with the stuff that applies to everybody, and then we'll work up to the people sending over 5,000. So what are the biggest things that I see here that have changed or are going to maybe have an impact on you? All right, the first one is not necessarily that new, and a lot of you may have this, but if you are trying to send out emails from your main company, like if you're a real estate agent, for example, or mortgage broker or insurance or any of these other service providers, you work under a main company and you have your name at their company, like Wesley at exprealty.com or something like that. Well, EXP doesn't give me permission to send EXP email or my email bulk through any platform, right? eXp Realty, I don't have any control of the domain. So that if I was trying to send under email a domain I have no control over, that's going to be no bueno. All right, it's not going to happen. That's same goes for if I'm sending from Gmail or Yahoo or anything like that. That's not going to work. So for sending your marketing emails, you're going to need to use a domain name that's yours, that you have control over. So that's the first thing if you're not doing that already. Another thing, just a side note on that, if you are going to be doing that, I recommend having a separate domain from your primary domain to send out emails or bulk emails. So what does that mean? Well, for example, our domain's LinkU.net. Our bulk emails, our marketing emails do not go out from Wesley at LinkU.net or whatever the email address is. They go out from usually Wesley at, there's a subdomain like sender.linkyou.net. So sender.linkyou.net is technically a different domain name, right? Even though it kind of shares. Or we register additional domains as well, like linkyou.smallbusiness.com or something like that. We'll use for our small business email marketing to build up the reputation separately. So just keep that in mind. You want to keep those separate. In any case, setting up your SPF and DKIM email authentication. So basically, those are DNS records that are provided by your email system, your platform, MailChimp, Constant Contact, doesn't matter what you're using, LinkU. There's settings that they'll give you generally that an SPF and DKIM that you need to go add to your domain. Now, if you're already with LinkU and you're already doing bulk sending, we generally do all this for you. We've probably already added it to your domain. But if we haven't, make sure you put a request in to do that through your platform. But anyway, that's the first thing. If you're using one of these other platforms, you're not using LinkU, you're going to have to get those records. Usually they're in the settings, or they'll have a place where you can validate your domain or verify it. And then they'll give you those settings that you need to go then plug in to your domain. If you want to learn more about exactly how the SPF and DKIM records work, I created a separate video on that because it can get a little complicated figuring out where your DNS is hosted and stuff like that. All right, next is ensure sending domains or IPs have valid forward or reverse DNS records. That's likely not going to be something you're worried about. That's going to be something generally on the email platform that they've already taken care of. Same with the TLS thing as well. You're not going to really worry about that. However, spam rates, you are going to want to worry about this. So a lot of people get this confused because they see these percentages and they're not so great at math like me, right? And they see this like, oh, okay, 1% can be spam. No. Look at that again. That's like 0.1%. So you know how like you get an email and if you click mark as spam or report as spam or any of that, that counts as a spam report. So look at this. If you have 0.10%, so that's 0.1%. So that's 0.0, not 0.01, because that would be 1%. 0.001 is 0.1%. So if you think about if you send out 1,000 emails, that means only if you got 1 out of 1,000, right? Right? We don't want to do that. And you could see here they don't want you to you don't want to ever reach 0.3. So that's 3 in 1,000. If 3 in 1,000 people might mark you as spam, you should rethink sending that email or who you're sending the email to, right? So this just goes to basically avoid or try and prevent people from sending out cold emails to purchase lists and things like that, because those are going to get a lot of spam reports. So what happens if someone reports you as spam? Well, if you get to that 0.1, 0.2, or even the 0.3, if you go above, you're going to be screwed. You're going to get stuck in that spam. And if you don't know this already, there's actually a reputation that's attached to your domain name that you're sending from. And the way that you can find that out is they actually pointed out here, there's something called Postmaster Tools. I'll do a whole separate video on this stuff later. You can check it out on the YouTube channel. Basically in the Postmaster Tools, how to check and keep track of your reputation. And it literally has like poor, bad, good, okay, that it tells you what your reputation is. So that's what is going to affect it right there. So that is something just to really keep in mind when you are sending out your bulk emails. 1 to 2 people out of 1,000, that's all it takes to affect your email deliverability. All right, next is format messages. That's usually not going to be an issue unless you're doing a lot of fancy like designs and graphics, which I don't typically recommend for the emails, at least that we do here at LinkU. And don't impersonate Gmail. So for example, if you're using your name at Gmail and you're trying to put that in your CRM as the sending address, that's not going to get delivered more than likely. It's not even going to reach the recipient. That goes back to you having your own domain name. Okay. And then this last one's more, I'm not even getting into it because like 99.9% of you guys are not doing this. This has to do with like mailing lists and things that are used when you're forwarding mails, and it's a whole thing. So we're not going to get into that one because that doesn't apply to most of you. So key things here, you're looking at the SPF and DKIM records. You're looking at the spam rates and those, and don't impersonate. So those are going to be the main 3 items that are that could affect you, especially if you never set up these DKIM records or you never got a domain for your email marketing. And then we go over to the 5,000 or more messages per day. Obviously, you have the same thing here with the SPF and DKIM. You've got the TLS. We're not going to worry about that. You've got the spam recording or reporting. That's all the same. And we're going to go down here to the differences here. And this one says set up a DMARC email authentication for your domain. All right, this is the big new piece. All right, so if you're sending anything over 5,000, and I would recommend this even if you're sending over 1,000, that you need to now have a DMARC record associated to your domain name. So what the heck is that? So what is DMARC? Well, DMARC is domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it doesn't really matter what it means. It's basically a way to prove or basically report who's sending or authenticating who's actually sending the email. And basically, if it's not like they don't have permission to send from me, I'm going to block it altogether, right? So if someone's spoofing you, right, pretending to be your domain, like if someone's sending out spam emails from LinkU.net and they're not us, this DMARC report says, hey, where should I, like these things don't match, right? The SPF and DKM, there's a mismatch here. So I don't think these are coming from you. Who should I tell about this? Who can I tell? Before, there's no way to know, right? But adding a DMARC record basically puts the information in there saying, hey, send that report to me, to this email address. And also, here's what I want you to do with those emails. Now, initially, you're not going to do anything. You're just going to usually report the email for now, and I'll get into that. And then they'll go ahead and, okay, well, here's what happened, but we're going to deliver it anyway, okay? But then eventually, you may go into a quarantine where it kind of like, oh, I don't know if I'm really going to send this, you know, whatever. And then you could go to a full rejected where it's just like, if it doesn't match, if there's a mismatch in the records or the SPF or the DKM, it's like, this is going to get blocked in general. So for example, if you try to do, you know, my name at Gmail and I'm sending off, you know, I'm sending off from MailChimp and I put that as my from address or something or whatnot. Well, not MailChimp because they substitute. But anyway, if I'm trying to send out from there from another system, Gmail is going to say, that ain't our email, and those records don't match, and they're just going to simply reject it. All right, so DMARC is just kind of more of a reporting system for that to let you know who might be impersonating or spoofing your emails. So what Google wants here is they want your domain, if you're sending more than 5,000, they want you to have that notification set up. Now, you can have the enforcement policy set to none, right? You're just monitoring at this point, and eventually they may move that up later, but they want at least for you to be aware and using DMARC. So what you can do, this is a company, this is a guy I know in one of my masterminds. He has this company, DMARC Report. Basically what they do is they basically give you the email and the record for your DMARC that you can add in there. Now you can technically add any DMARC and put your own email address and it'll just send you the notifications, but those emails mean almost nothing to anybody, right? You have to like decipher what the heck that means. So this might be a way for you to do it. They have a free account here, starter, for one domain that you can use. If you're on LinkU, if you have LinkU, just let us know. More than likely, we'll be doing this for you automatically. But if you had a domain set up prior to February 1st, then it may not be set up for you by default, and you may need to get us access. And then we actually have a DMARC report account where we handle our clients' DMARC records. So if you're not with LinkU, if you are with LinkU, it's very easy. You don't have to worry about it. Just let us know. If you aren't, then you do have to worry about it and you have to put that in action. And so what I would recommend to everybody is when you set up, and I don't care how many emails you're sending, but when you set up your SPM and SPF and DKIM records, I would recommend that you go ahead and also get that DMARC record set up as well while you're at it. Okay, I'd recommend doing that. Let's see what else here. Direct mail, the domain and senders from must be aligned with the SPF or DKM domain. So again, that is what I was saying when I was sending an email. If I'm sending from LinkU, right? The source email, the DKM, and those things, they need a match. If they don't match, then we have an issue. And then finally, marketing messages and subscribe messages must support one-click unsubscribe. So what that means, and there should be a clearly visible unsubscribe link in the message body. So that means when someone clicks on that, that's it. They're unsubscribed right out of the gate. So again, usually your email system, wherever you're sending your bulk emails from, will handle this and take care of that one click, but it's just something to be aware of. So those are the main changes. Those are the big ones. If anything, it's really just that SPF, the DKIM, and the DMARC records. And then, of course, the spam reporting. It's always been super low anyway, but I just wanted to remind you how important it is, or in case you weren't aware of how low that was, you were thinking a percent or something like that. No, it's 1/10%, and now you know that. So anyway, that is all the details on what's new. So feel free to check out my other YouTube videos, which go into, just deliverability in general, managing your domain or using, about your domain reputation to increase deliverability, and setting up your SPF and DKIM record. So that's all for me today. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.